All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this masterclass. We're very happy to have you today. We have a very, very interesting topic, decoding luxury and lifestyle partnerships. That's going to be presented by our amazing Professor Denis Morisset. I am Audrey Mathieu. I am Global Marketing and Recruitment Manager for a full-time MBA. And I'm going to be introducing this masterclass. I'm going to take a couple of minutes from this event to just introduce some housekeeping information, and then also a little bit more about ESSEC, executive education, and also, segue into the masterclass. So if we go to the next slide, this is some housekeeping information. So the masterclass is going to last for 1 hour and a half, so 90 minutes. We're going to have the masterclass for 1 hour, and then Denis is going to take it away to answer all of your questions at the end of the masterclass. So feel free to really ask all of your questions during the masterclass in the Q&A box that is just right there. We're going to take as much time as we need to answer most of them. So, stick around. The masterclass is going to be recorded. So if you need to head out, no worries. We're going to send you the replay after the session. So maybe a few words about ESSEC. You might know us, you might know us less. So, those are just a few numbers and rankings. ESSEC is a French business school with a very international and global outreach. We're ranked number 2 in France, number 9 in the world as a European business school. We're also ranked number 9 in terms of our ESSEC executive education programs. Some of our programs are also ranked. You can see here, for example, the BBA, that is number 1, and our Master in Finance, they are number 4. We also have our MBAs that are ranked, not here on the slides, but many of our programs are ranked. A few words about our campuses. So we are based in Europe, in Asia, and in Africa. If we go to Europe, we're based in Paris. So just outside of Paris, we have the Cergy campus, that is welcoming all our pre-experience programs from bachelor's to Master of Science to Master in Management. Then we have the La Défense campus that is welcoming all our executive education programs. We're based in La Défense, which is the number 1 business district in Europe, in the middle of the headquarters. We also have a campus in Asia, in Singapore, that was created 10 years ago, and a campus in Africa, in Morocco, in Rabat. Just maybe a few words about our programs. So we really cover every end of the spectrum. So there's something for everyone here, from really pre-experience programs, bachelor's programs, Master of Science, to post-experience programs with general management programs, and programs that are more specialized, to PhD. So really, depending on your need, there is something to everyone. I just want to say as well that there are many, many recruiters just like me that are really, really happy to help you and orientate you if you have, needs. So feel free to go on our website, do a contact request, download our brochures, and we'll be really, really happy to guide you through it. I also want to take a second to just explain a little bit more about our executive education programs. You can see here that we have, many, many programs covering many categories, from general management programs to expert degrees, to executive certificates and short programs. Some are in French, some are in English, some are very short programs for a few days to, longer programs until 18 months. And some are full-time programs, some part-time programs. So really something for everyone. If I go a little bit, more in details in terms of our programs, we do have general management programs in French and in English, as you can see with our MBAs. In terms of our MBAs, we do have the full-time MBA and part-time MBAs. Part-time MBAs are more for, I would say, senior audience. And the full-time MBA, I'm sure Denis is going to talk a little bit about that one because he's very involved in our global MBA. We also do have expert degrees covering needs maybe in terms of sector or in terms of a function. We do have programs in French from real estate, finance, marketing, healthcare, to English in sustainability, luxury, or digital. And then we also do have shorter programs, and you can see the executive certificates and short programs on the right of the screen. I'm not going to go into the list of all the topics that we do cover, but we do have many. So I'm sure you will find what you need if you have any need. And then just to segue into the awaited masterclass, maybe a few words about ESSEC's legacy in the luxury management. So, we've been working with luxury brands and the luxury sector for a long time now. That is represented in our programs. You can see that in with our full-time MBA. The first MBA was created in luxury brand management over 30 years ago. And luxury is still very, very much present in the MBA today with our career learning lab. And Denis is the head of the career learning lab in luxury. So I'm sure he's going to say a few words about that. We also do have an executive master in luxury management and design innovation for participants that want to develop their skills and network to access top roles in the luxury sector and know more about markets all around the world. And then obviously we're collaborating with a lot of brands. We do have chairs and clubs, from the LVMH chair that was created in 1991 to the leadership and diversity chair supported by L'Oréal, to the ESSEC beauty chair where we're working with Estée Lauder and Marionneau. We also do have a Club Luxe with all alumni that are kind of represented through all functions in the luxury sector, and the Academy of Luxury with academic programs and experiences in luxury management. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to give it to Denis to take it away and enjoy the masterclass.
Thank you very much, Audrey. It was crystal clear. So I'm going to introduce to you the topic today, which is about decoding luxury and lifestyle partnership. This is the agenda we will follow. So there will be a bit of concept and theory at the beginning, and then I will illustrate it with many case studies, today mostly around restaurant, cafe, chef, hotels, etc. And I will give you a small toolbox at the very end. So maybe starting with a personal introduction, although many of you know me already, but it's hard for me to summarize on one slide like 46 years of my professional life. But to make it, to keep it simple, I've been working 25 years in the luxury industry. After graduating actually from ESSEC, so I'm very much involved with ESSEC. And I decided in 2004 to start a professional career in teaching, becoming a professor, a second career. I came back to ESSEC. And one of my first assignments was to take care of this MBA, which is the ancestor of the global MBA. So everything has been moving on, but I've been teaching in the global MBA of ESSEC for 21 years already. For personal reasons, some of you know my wife is Chinese, so I've also living partly in China, and I've been teaching for this reason in many schools in Greater China. I think today some of my students, I would like to quickly welcome the current global MBA ESSEC students, maybe some future students that I will see next year, and also some of my current or past students from China, in particular in the hotel industry. I'm teaching also luxury hotel management. So from SHTM in Hong Kong and in Hangzhou. Voilà. I also have developed during COVID years some social media activity because I had more time. So mostly in China at that moment, I was targeting my Chinese audience. So maybe some of you know, these are Chinese social media channel, Bilibili, a kind of YouTube for young people interested in educational but playful videos, and Xiaohongshu more on fashion, beauty, and lifestyle. So I've got my channels there, but I also did a lot of masterclass which are done with ESSEC and on ESSEC YouTube account. And I also post quite a lot on my LinkedIn, not talking about my WeChat account for those who follow me on WeChat. Voilà. But without further ado, let's move into the topic. Don't hesitate to put questions in the chat box if you have questions. I will take them at the very end. So first, understanding a little bit the rise of all these lifestyle partnerships. I've been doing a lot of research on collaborations because it's all about collaborations here. And it's something which has been increasing a lot in the past, say, 10, 15 years. And in a way, it's a black box because the word collaboration, does it include co-branding, marketing alliance? It's a black box. So let's try to decode a little bit first the concept of collaboration. For me, I'm interested primarily in marketing collaborations, okay? So we put aside some pure industrial back office collaboration, which are not visible. And I'm looking at it 360 degree. What I mean by this is, for me, collaboration at large, they don't need to be necessarily contractual. They don't need to be direct. They can be indirect. They can be passive. And you have a few examples below. As long as the association, the collaboration, the partnership, whatever format it takes, has an impact on the market and can actually impact the consumer's perception of the brand. Well, not going into too many details, but L'Occitane is a beauty brand from France. It has no contract with the region of Provence, but because it was born there, there is a natural association, which is actually in the name of the brand. Le Labo, another French-American fragrance brand, also talks about a journey from Grasse to New York. So here again, it's purely an association. When a jewelry brand opens a store, Place Vendôme, it's not just about the Place Vendôme, it's also about being seen next to established jewelry brand. Okay, that's what I want to say by indirect. So today we are living in a world of brands. I mean, brands are everywhere. So this association, this collaboration can be between brands, like traditional product or service brands, but anything today is a brand, fundamentally, right? A lot of individuals are brands. In China, through my Bilibili account, I think somehow I'm a brand. I'm a kind of KOL professor. So, individuals can be brands. And today we'll talk about artists, architects, chefs, retailers, digital brands, events, very important. Events are important brands, certain festival, prizes, etc. Places, like locations, cities, regions, even malls, streets are brands. And today we will see, we will decode a little bit the concept of luxury destination. Elements of nature can be brands, important for maybe like skincare brands, which want to emphasize the importance of certain ingredients. Or history, sports, everything, events, sport category, sports champions. And also, of course, art and entertainment. And today we will see literature, books, cinema, and gaming industry. So to try to clarify a little bit, usually, collaborations can focus on one or several elements of what I call the brand value chain. For design, it's often called co-branding. At Louis Vuitton, they call it co-branding when the designer is developing a collection together with an artist or another designer. Production can also be the focus when a brand wants to emphasize the country of origin or the quality of the ingredients. Today, we will spend more time on branding and distribution, because these are obviously two very important categories where collaborations, in particular lifestyle collaboration, are used extensively. Some collaboration can go through the entire value chain. Think about Stella McCartney and Adidas, or Y3, Yamamoto and Adidas. What you will understand today is that collaboration, like I showed on the previous slide, I think it's primarily a branding tool. So in my courses, I talk a lot about, of course, luxury brand management. And, it's really about how the luxury brands conveys its uniqueness, its cultural equity. And for this, storytelling is essential. So luxury brand storytelling today is strongly reinforced by collaboration. So you will see, it has a lot to do with the brand storytelling. Not forgetting one thing, which is so important that you should always have it in mind. What is luxury brand management? How does it differ from brand management? It's really the art of creating desirability. Okay, so obviously collaborations always have in the minds of the brands an objective to increase the desirability. Desirability is always there, directly or indirectly. Okay, let's now zoom quickly on lifestyle branding, because we are going to talk today about lifestyle collaboration. I think most of you know that lifestyle branding is a trend that we have seen for many years, even before luxury brands or the brands were going lifestyle. Today, most, not all, but many luxury brands are clearly going lifestyle for a number of reasons, which are, I think, written here. There is first, I think, a demand from clients. You know, we are in a world where experience sometimes matters more than ownership. Ownership is not enough. Then, for different reasons, luxury brands want to extend their presence. They want to diversify, and lifestyle branding can help. Also, you will see the example of Dior. Ski capsule collection is interesting. They often want to make their products more culturally relevant, more meaningful, by associating them with aspirational luxury lifestyle element. Okay. And then, of course, luxury destination, we're going to talk about that, because this is where they can meet, recruit high net worth individual. And at the end of the day, of course, it's always about increasing the brand desirability. So lifestyle branding actually is technically about like pushing the boundaries of the client experience outside of the traditional brand territory. And how it's being done by crossing over new sectors. So to illustrate that point, I'm going to use a chart quite well known because it's updated each year by the BCG that shows you the new frontiers of luxury. And already here, you have the answer, because you have different luxury sectors which are driven by different logics, and they are more and more crossing over one another. So to make it very concrete and clear, let's divide it into three categories. We have luxury product brands. They are the traditional luxury brands. It's called personal luxury goods sector. For quite some time now, and we will see it today, they are crossing over hotels, restaurants, home products, real estate, etc. Then we have what we call experience-based product brands, like cars, wines and spirit, furniture, gourmet food, real estate. And they also cross over, as we will see. They cross over hotels, restaurants, and luxury destination. And then we have the pure luxury service brands, in which, of course, hotel, restaurants are important, but also transportation, and they cross over. This is really in my hotel course. Today, luxury hotel cannot just sell rooms and F&B. So they need to cross over, and they do by offering to their guests, especially high net worth individual, private jet, extraordinary travel experiences, wellness beyond the spa, etc. Even fashion. You will see in the future some luxury hotel working with fashion designers and creating some small collection of maybe sweaters or t-shirts. So what all these have in common is the fact that these collaboration, this crossover, are mostly taking place in luxury destination. Why? Because luxury destination is really the place where high net worth individuals go primarily, and where luxury brands have a chance to meet them, to engage with them, and to associate them with their luxury lifestyle. So actually, I have a course just on that because it's so important, and I'm fascinated by the topic of luxury destination branding. So to keep it very simple today, luxury destination, usually they gather all these elements, and it often starts with exceptional dream factors, the climate, the nature, the beautiful coastline. Then luxury hotels, real estate, endorsement of rich people, luxury retail, art, culture, sports, okay? So we have actually different types of luxury destination. We have some which are associated with the mountains and with skis, for instance. So Courchevel, Megève in France, Gstaad St. Moritz in Switzerland, Kitzbühel, Cortina, Niseko in Japan, Aspen, Colorado. We have some which are more associated with summer beach activities. Don't need to read them. And then we have potentially some luxury destination which are part of cities or which could even be cities themselves. I'm thinking about Mayfair, the luxury district in London. Singapore, to a certain extent, can be seen as a luxury destination, or Beverly Hills in LA, or Palm Beach near Miami. Okay, that. So you will see today that a lot of these lifestyle collaboration are taking place in these luxury destinations. And finally, to do this crossover, to expand, to develop lifestyle branding, right? Luxury brands do not always need collaborations. Actually, often luxury brands, they like to control everything. So sometimes they try to do it in-house, to be 100% in control. However, in most cases, and this is the case, for instance, of Four Seasons. Four Seasons, when they develop the private jet, it's their own Boeing. When they develop the luxury experience, it's their own staff, which becomes a travel agent, okay? But it's not always possible. So often, luxury brands wanting to cross over need collaboration to be more legitimate, and we will see different cases, relevant, visible, and also profitable, because sometimes it would be too expensive to develop this expertise internally. Okay, so to sum up, before we jump into the cases, lifestyle collaboration serve multiple purposes. And in red, I really emphasized what we are going to see today. But there are other cases, point 5 and 6, I will not cover too much. But when you see, for instance, and it was a big thing in China, Fendi collaborating with Haiti, it was really a lifestyle collaboration that aimed at increasing the popularity of the brand within Gen Z and maybe young millennial. Okay, so there could be different objectives. So we will go back to that because the cases I will take you through are really about reaching this objective. Okay, so let's start with restaurants, cafe, and chef. For me, it's interesting because, I worked in this industry many years ago, and not everything is new. I was managing the Emporio Cafe in Paris, hired an Italian chef, and it was in 2001, one of the best Italian restaurants in Paris. Okay, so Armani was a pioneer. I brought my student to Japan in 2004-05 to visit the newly opened Beige restaurant by Chanel, for Chanel, but managed by French chef Alain Ducasse. I also remember eating the first beef in Ralph's restaurant, Ralph Lauren restaurants in Chicago many years ago. Gucci Osteria is a little bit more recent, but I also remember having seen in 2004 a Gucci restaurant in Ginza in Tokyo. So, in fact, Italian brands have often been more brave, and traditional French luxury brands a little bit more careful. But now they are catching up. So let me show you quickly two small cases. One is about Dior. So Dior started with its historical place, 28, 28 and 30 Avenue Montaigne in Paris, which they converted into a kind of lifestyle maison with almost everything you can imagine here. That relates also to the DNA of Dior, so including gardens, including a beautiful gallery, including restaurant, pastry store, with, of course, collaboration with chefs, gardeners, architects, and even a luxury hotel suite, a unique suite, which must be booked a long time in advance. Okay, so that's the starting point for Dior. Recently, they started to develop an ambitious strategy of partnership with female chefs. And the first one was with Anne-Sophie Pic in 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. And she has been opening with Dior 4 cafes, which are actually restaurants, in Japan and recently in China. The last one opened very recently in Shanghai. Okay, so 4 cafes opened in 2 years. And then, very interestingly, another female chef who's based in Dallas, Texas, opened again very recently one of the first Dior cafe in the flagship store of Dior in the Highland Park, which is a luxury mall in Dallas, Texas. So some of you may wonder why Dallas, Texas. Actually, there is a reason, very clear. It's all about storytelling. Christian Dior in 1947, soon after he launched his collections, he was invited and received actually an award by Neiman Marcus in Dallas, Texas. So Dior has a very special relationship with Dallas, Texas. Okay, storytelling. I was in Bangkok last winter, last Christmas, actually. So I had a chance to see that amazing structure. They call it the Gold House. You know, gold is kind of a code of Dior, playing with the name Dior, which means God, Dieu, and or, gold. So they really recreate here an iconic facade that we call their Maison in Paris. And there is obviously lifestyle element with a Michelin star chef. There is a restaurant and some coffee. It's all decorated with Dior codes. It's not finished, but I cannot go into too many details. What Dior also does, they connect their spring cruise collections called Dior Riviera, Anna Gracia Curie, with certain luxury destination and luxury hotel. So the choice of the destination and the hotel is very interesting. And each time they open kind of pop-up store with a kind of pop-up cafe. So for instance, 3 examples: Saint-Tropez, French Riviera. Shelona Beach is a very famous jet set restaurant on the beach. LA, Beverly Hills, the best hotel, Dorchester Collection, Beverly Hills Hotel. And for instance, in Bali Island, Jimbaran Bay, the exclusive part of Bali Island with Four Seasons Hotel. Okay, voilà. And also, you know, they opened recently some other pop-up cafe in extremely luxury hotels in other destinations like Como Lake, the Villa des Hotel, Phuket, the Surin, close to Amman, and a very famous beach club and restaurant in Capri, in Italy. Okay, so this is already quite impressive, but I want to spend a little more time on Louis Vuitton, because this is even more incredible, what Louis Vuitton did in the past 4 or 5 years. So to put things in perspective quickly, right? Louis Vuitton is a brand that has been very quiet, successful but quiet until the end of the 90s. They were focusing on trunks, luggage, bags, kind of a timeless leather bags brand. And things changed when they introduced a little bit a fashion element into the equation to enlarge a little bit the DNA of Louis Vuitton as an art of living, travel. So they hired the first fashion designer, brought Louis Vuitton the catwalk, and progressively developed all these product categories, as you can see here. And the last one, the very last one, interestingly, is makeup. And again, you know, you have collaborations everywhere. So makeup is done with someone I know and appreciate a lot, a makeup artist, very famous, Pat McGrath, which gives the brand even more legitimacy. But we're not going to talk here about this kind of development. I will focus on how Louis Vuitton is moving into luxury lifestyle since, I would say, 2020. So it's still very recent. So first, what means luxury lifestyle for Louis Vuitton? You have a lot of components, actually. It looks complicated, but you will understand. First, they don't really have home products, but they have objet nomade, you will see. Then they developed some chocolates recently. They have obviously opened cafe and restaurant, hotels on the way. It's connected with their dream exhibition, and it's connected with winter ski activities, summer beach activities, of course, luxury destinations. And the very last element, this is like last week, the announcement that they were creating a culinary committee of top chefs and launching officially last week, I think, their first tableware luxury collection with an amazing event in the prestigious private castle Vaux-le-Vicomte in the south of Paris. You can see here Peter Marino with the Countess. Okay, so Louis Vuitton has actually asked designers to create for them objet nomade. But until recently, it was more for the brand creativity. Now, with the new lifestyle development, you will see more of these objet nomade, which are kind of contemporary vision of furniture and home product. Then what I will take you through quickly today is this amazing development that has gone through in 5 years with 20 permanent restaurant and cafe located mostly in Louis Vuitton Maison, so flagship stores. Then a lot of pop-up cafe in luxury destination, and recently a new series of LV Murakami pop-up cafe in trendy shopping district. So the location is always very important, and I show it to you on this slide. Alors, let's start with the permanent Louis Vuitton restaurant and cafe. Here we have multiple partnerships because the places have been created by very famous architects. They collaborate with Michelin chef, and voilà. So it started actually in Japan. Louis Vuitton has a special story with Japan, so it's not totally by chance. And it started in Osaka in 2020 when Jun Aoki, very famous Japanese architect, together with Peter Marino, developed this new concept of maison for Louis Vuitton. You can see with a kind of selling concept. So another designer was involved. And of course, this is where they opened the very first cafe and restaurant. So the Louis Vuitton strategy is to have both the cafe and the restaurant. Actually, the cafe is a restaurant, but it's more casual, okay? And the restaurant is more gastronomic. And each time, normally, is the same chef, which is in charge of both. And here, a very famous chef, Chef Yosuke Suga. So the name of the restaurant, it's the devil is in the details, is created after the name of the chef to leverage fully on the reputation of the chef, while the cafe is called Café V, V for Vuitton. And you will see that in other places, they follow the same logic. So the cafe and the restaurant. Here, they also developed, their French lifestyle with the Art Deco and artworks by artists. Tokyo followed just after in another beautifully renovated Louis Vuitton Maison on Ginza. So here, same chef, same architect, and just a cafe, Café V. Then, alors, Paris. Paris normally should have been the beginning, but sometimes, you have some constraints. In Paris, actually, today, you have the first Café Maxime Frédéric that I really invite you to visit. It's next to Samaritan in the opposite building, next to the Louis Vuitton Dream exhibition. And it's managed by a famous pastry chef with whom Louis Vuitton has a deep collaboration, Maxime Frédéric, who, by the way, is also the pastry chef of the Cheval Blanc Hotel nearby at Samaritan. So then you have, but this is more incidentally, the Louis Vuitton Art Foundation in Paris has a restaurant, which is quite good, actually. And they collaborated with a Michelin star chef for it, Jean-Louis Nomikos. But they called it the Franck. Why? You should know, because the architect, Franck Gehry, is the architect who created this beautiful design. So in Paris, you don't have at the moment an official Louis Vuitton restaurant because it takes time. But you have these two buildings which are controlled by Louis Vuitton on Champs-Élysées, the current Louis Vuitton Maison Champs-Élysées, and the building just behind that Louis Vuitton has taken over, which is for the moment hidden by this trunk, and that will probably reopen as a hotel, but will probably also renovate the Maison. So there is a big project here to come, but still a little bit confidential. Then French Riviera. The most famous luxury destination is called Saint-Tropez. And in Saint-Tropez, Louis Vuitton has opened already several years ago in a small luxury hotel they own called White 1921 from a famous vintage of Moet et Chandon. A small, restaurant in a boutique hotel, and chef Arnaud Donkelet and Maxime Frédéric are in charge. So you will see that these two chefs are very important for Louis Vuitton. In China, 2 years ago, they opened in Chengdu, which was a surprise to some people, but I think it was totally understandable considering that Sichuan cuisine is one of the most famous in China. And also Chengdu is a very dynamic fashion city. So Louis Vuitton has a great stores in this city. So here they collaborated with an Italian chef, which could be also a surprise. Why not a French chef? Actually, it's not here necessarily about French. Louis Vuitton travels throughout the world, and you will understand later on that this chef has been working on at Da Vittorio in Italy, a very famous restaurant, and that explains everything. But today we have a partnership with that very famous young Italian chef. Bangkok, again, I saw it when I was in Bangkok recently. So here is the same strategy as in Tokyo or Osaka, cafe and restaurant. But the chef is different. They chose a very famous local chef who is famous in the region between Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. So very, very famous chef. And they collaborated with him, so with a new store located in a luxury mall, very luxury mall, with a very famous architect who came up with a very interesting concept. Okay, you can see here. So here you have something more, which is the exhibition. That is something which will be present also in some lifestyle maison of Louis Vuitton. A very immersive experience for the visitors, plus, of course, the cafe. The cafe, more casual, and the restaurant, more gastronomic, okay? And the name of the restaurant is after the name of the chef. Very impressive is New York. So New York, Louis Vuitton is undergoing an amazing renovation because they are rebuilding this structure you see on the left, which was their historical maison at the corner of 57th Street and 5th Avenue. So they are rebuilding it. And in the meantime, they moved for probably 2-3 years their maison on the other side of 57th Street. And here they opened, now it's an Art Deco building again, amazing decoration architecture, and they opened a library cafe. So they a little bit aligned with the local culture. New York, it's really about culture. So it's more a cultural meeting place. But they also sponsored 2 local chefs, but the French chefs are behind it at the beginning. Very beautiful place, very successful already. And I cannot resist showing you Milano because this opened like a few weeks ago. So it's actually reopened because it was in renovation for many years. So here we have the usual suspects, Peter Marino, and we have very, very famous Italian chef. If I have Italian students today, they probably know this family. They come from Bergamo. It's really a signature. So Louis Vuitton collaborated with them, same principle. The restaurant, Dave by Da Vittorio, emphasizing the chef, and the cafe, more casual in the courtyard of the Palazzo. Very, very impressive, beautiful achievement. I cannot resist showing you 2 more pictures. There is an Art Nouveau salon. Here it's about the building history. So they talk about Art Nouveau, which comes back also to the history of the family. Storytelling is never far. And home products and objet nomade. And in these objet nomade, you have an amazing Campana football table that you can see here, very creative. So there is a lot to discover in this building. And I cannot resist to share with you also the flash news that was in the press last week. But you need to be patient for that. In LA, on Rodeo Drive, Louis Vuitton will open its biggest ever maison, and that will include a lot of retail space with, of course, the cafe and the restaurant and a huge exhibition space. But this is something to come. Just to add to it, this is really about flagship store here. So it's retailtainment. But Louis Vuitton has also now stores in airports. Very important, like duty-free business. So they start to open restaurants in international airports in the lounge. So one in Doha with very famous chef Aleno, and the other one opened in Heathrow in London with another very famous chef in the UK called Cyril Lignac. Louis Vuitton is always trying to have very famous chefs that will guarantee the success of the restaurant. Very quickly, because I will run out of time, but Louis Vuitton is not just doing that. They are also opening a lot of pop-up cafe, again, to emphasize luxury destination, and also to relate to other existing luxury hotels. So as an example, LVMH owned Balmain, so they opened a pop-up cafe. Alors here, it's just not about the cafe, it's about a collection, like a summer collection called LV by the Pool. And the brand is, like I was saying before, trying to encourage the elite client who stay in that hotel to enjoy this collection and see how Louis Vuitton is associated with their beach luxury lifestyle. And they did the same in other luxury places, all of them, right? One after the other. Bodrum in Turkey with Mandarin Oriental, a very, very famous jet set restaurant called Zuma. And this is in Mykonos in Greece. And this is my preferred. This is more about winter collection. So they created this beautiful yacht, and they positioned it in different luxury ski destinations: Saint Moritz in Switzerland, Courchevel in France, next to their hotel Cheval Blanc, and in Niseko, Japan, next to Park Hyatt, which is the best hotel in Niseko. Voilà. They also do it in Korea, with pop-up restaurant in their very innovative maison with different types of chefs. And finally, but I will skip that part, but just to show you the dynamics of the brand, they used the recent revisit of LV Murakami partnership to open a pop-up. Alors, this is more playful, this is more fun. It's reaching a different clientele, okay? And they chose different locations, like in Singapore, in Seoul, in Tokyo, Harajuku, young, hip district. And voilà. So to conclude on that, because I spent a little time on Louis Vuitton, I will just quote the CEO of Louis Vuitton, Pietro Beccari. Actually, you can read it with me. I think he says it all. It's really about culture. So it's really about enriching the cultural equity of Louis Vuitton brand, but it's also about, transforming Louis Vuitton stores in real retailtainment places, okay? So that's definitely the strategy of Louis Vuitton. Possible risk of this is that, this is a kind of mass cultural domination, and combining it with maintaining an aura of exclusivity can be challenging, especially at times when quiet luxury is popular. But maybe that will not last forever. So I still think globally it's amazing, because also the execution is remarkable. Alors, some people often say, but Hermès never does these things. It's not totally true. Actually, I know Hermès very well. They have opened some cafe and restaurant. Just they don't talk about it. So they are more discreet and secretive. And it's far less commercial. But they don't ignore the phenomenon. Just they do it in their own way. So there are places in the world, in Paris, in Seoul, in New York, where you can actually enjoy food and drinks in Hermès cafe or restaurant, but it's very, very discreet. Let me now quickly talk about hotels and residences, branded residences. It's again one of my favorite topic. I'm passionate about hotels. So I've been following this trend of fashion meets hotels for a long time. And Italians were really the pioneers. So you have a lot of Italian fashion brands which moved into hotels over the years. And the rest of the industry followed more recently. I will not take you through all that because we don't have time. But still, the names are important. And you see certain brands which maybe you would not expect, like Chopin or the Marc Piguet. But each time the hotel is a little bit different. So we would need really to understand by looking at each one. Those who have made it relatively big, we have Ferragamo. But Ferragamo, interestingly, no collaborations, almost no collaboration. They learned to become hotelier. So they did it by themselves. And they did it mostly in their home place in Florence, in Tuscany, okay? So they have opened quietly a lot of restaurants and hotels that they manage by themselves with their own brands, Lungarno Collection. They have just a small collaboration with Leica, but almost nothing. So this is done in-house with an objective limited to enhance the hospitality in their home place. Armani, of course, I worked with Armani many years, so I was involved in the Armani Dubai hotel, also in Armani Casa. So Armani, it's a very different case. Armani is a fashion designer which never wanted to limit himself to fashion. So he was a pioneer really in lifestyle branding. He is the pioneer because all this goes back to 30 years ago when no one was doing it, And I still remember when we launched Armani Casa. And Armani Casa was important because to furnish the hotels and the Armani residences, Armani wanted to create the home product, the furniture, the lights, the tables, the lamps, okay? So he learned to develop it. But for the hotels, he had to collaborate. So he chose in Dubai a big hotel group called Emaar, which is also a real estate company with deep pockets, which facilitated it. So it was a kind of license agreement, okay? And then we have Bulgari. Now, Bulgari, it's the most accomplished case. And Bulgari is also today opening residences. So Bulgari did it really as a collaboration through a joint venture with the luxury division of Marriott back in 2001. Clearly, at that moment, Bulgari was independent, didn't belong to LVMH. They didn't think they were legitimate to operate hotels, so they wanted to play it safe. But the strategy was definitely to go lifestyle and also to create a kind of different level of engagement for clients who maybe would be intimidated to enter the jewelry store, but could experience Bulgari in a hotel. So the brand has been developing quite successfully and aggressively, but is not totally in control because it's part of Marriott, partially, GV. Alors, you have the case of LVMH, which today owns Bulgari, owns Balmain Hotel, and created its own ultra-luxury hotel brand. So it's a collaboration in a way, because LVMH also owns Chateau Cheval Blanc, a very famous Saint-Emilion wine. And they used that name to create in 2006 a luxury hotel and resort brand called Cheval Blanc, but with a different logo. And they opened several, you see on the right, purely luxury destination. Paris, of course, but otherwise, very, very luxury destination. And the next one is already scheduled to open in Italy, Costa Smeralda, Sardinia, near Porto Cervo. And probably Mayfair will be the next. So this is really interesting because besides being a collaboration with the wine, in the Cheval Blanc Hotel, the guest can experience some of the best that LVMH brands have to offer. So you may have a Louis Vuitton boutique, a Dior or a Guerlain spa, some dinners organized around Cheval Blanc wine, Krug, Gordon Perignon champagne, etc. So it's a very beautiful project, actually. But I just wanted to say a word about branded residences, because for me, it's a very interesting trend. Again, talking about luxury lifestyle. Alors, we don't see so many in Europe. It's something that really developed initially in emerging countries, so in Asia, in China, in Indonesia. We have seen some in Thailand, and also in America. So what is it? Basically, most of the luxury residents, they carry the name of a developer. It's not really a brand, right? But here we're talking about luxury residents with services that are branded because they are branded after the name of either an ultra luxury hotel, Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton, Mandarin Oriental, Aman, or a luxury brand, fashion jewelry brand. Armani, Bulgari, Versace, Fendi. Okay, so this is something that can be extremely attractive to high net worth individuals. And I will just develop for you today very quickly the case of Fendi. So Fendi, is born in Rome. So first of all, they had to do something above their store in Rome, and they opened a very small hotel, boutique hotel with 7 suites. But that was just the beginning. At that moment, Karl Lagerfeld was the designer, so he decorated the suite. They call it Fendi Private Suite. But at the same time, Fendi, like Armani in a way, had the ambition to, develop its vision of style, of design, of fashion into home products. So they created Fendi Casa. And at the beginning, they did it through a license with a company called Luxury Living, meaning they didn't control everything. But still, it enabled some rich people to ask the architect to decorate their house with a Fendi Casa solution. More recently, they decided to accelerate, so they made a different collaboration with a very strong Italian company, very famous in design, furniture design, called Design Holding. So they did a GV with Fendi Casa and created a new company. And that new company today is responsible for developing all kinds of furniture, home products for luxury residences that are branded Fendi or not. What I have seen recently is the development of Fendi residences. So you have, for instance, luxury destination, Crans-Montana in Switzerland. They call it Fendi Private Residences. Scottsdale in America, in Arizona, at a luxury destination in Arizona. Marbella, and also we have Fendi Chateau in Bal Harbour, Miami. So these are real estate developers who accept to work with Fendi and sell branded residences, Fendi, furnished with Fendi Casa furniture. Voilà, interesting, something to follow. I will end up, this is my last part, with the case of sports and entertainment, to move to a very different topic. But it's also lifestyle, right? So Sports, I mean, first of all, going back to storytelling and to culture, how luxury brands can increase their brand cultural equity and their cultural relevance. They are also keen to explore new cultural territories. And here we're talking about art, of course, music. Think about Pharrell Williams for Louis Vuitton, sports. Think about LVMH, a global partnership with Formula One, and of course, entertainment. So this is what I will quickly decode for you. Sports, I think, is perceived by LVMH, but not only by LVMH, as a growingly desirable cultural asset. So don't forget that I think today a lot of sports athletes in particular are like the new stars. In China also, I observed it, but everywhere in the world, people admire them. So they sometimes are more influential than traditional celebrities. So they become true objects of desire. And the objective of luxury brand is to craft desire. So there is, in a way, a natural connection. And LVMH understood it and recently spent a lot of money to enter this long-term agreement with Formula One. And that brings 3 brands of LVMH, Tag Heuer, Moët Chandon, and Louis Vuitton. But in fact, Louis Vuitton believed in sports for a long time already. It started with the Louis Vuitton Cup, some of you may know, which is the to be qualified to fight the American team in the America Cup. The other teams must win the Louis Vuitton Cup. Then you have the Louis Vuitton Classic, a beautiful vintage car race. You probably remember Louis Vuitton has always incorporated soccer stars, football players, in its advertising. Not talking about the Olympics in Paris last year, not talking about League of Legends, etc. So, but of course, I have limited time today, so I will not develop sports. I want to keep a little more time on entertainment. Entertainment, it's, what is it? I mean, it can be many things, but I will focus here more on books, movies, and TV series, right? And before showing you luxury brands cases, maybe some of you, if you like basketball, you have seen or paid attention to this Netflix series, The Last Dance, and this movie Air, because it's amazing how it talks indirectly about Nike. Indirectly because it talks about Jordan, Michael Jordan. But Michael Jordan made history and Michael Jordan made Nike in a way. So through these series and movies that are exciting because they talk about Michael Jordan himself and not about Nike, indirectly they talk about Nike. So that's interesting. Alors, leveraging on that, I want to explain to you how, until recently, you had some, what I call large audience movies that where some luxury brands had some product placement. Let's put it this way. A good example is The Great Gatsby. There were 4 versions. It came from a book, by the way, so often it's from a book. And it talks about New York, first Gilded Age, the crazy years, Art Deco movement. So very, very interesting for luxury brands. And in the second edition, 1974, Ralph Lauren was actually present. But the last one that you probably remember with DiCaprio, actually Prada, Brooks Brothers, and Tiffany provided a lot of archives and products. So they try to leverage on the fame of this movie, okay? And Prada even pioneered a Great Gatsby collection. Another famous movie, which is a bit old now, but still people remember, is Breakfast at Tiffany's. At that moment, there was no real branding, But of course, we all remember Audrey Hepburn in front and inside the Tiffany store. So, but in fact, she was wearing a little black dress designed by Givenchy. So that movie has not yet been reedited, could be an opportunity. Then recently, I think people were shocked by the success in terms of revenues and views of the House of Gucci. And again, the brand was passive. Here, the brands could not decide anything. They were just lucky if the movie director was contacting them. And here, Gucci cooperated by giving access to their archives, wardrobe, but that's it. But I think it was globally positive for the brand, even if some of the family members didn't like it, and understandably. But, you know, it's something interesting. What I want to explain to you is it's not about the brand. It's about the character. And when the brand is lucky to have a designer, a founder, which has a very special personality, of course, it attracts movie directors, writers. So Yves Saint Laurent is a very special persona. So not by chance, 6 movies were made on his life. Pierre Berger, the partner of Saint Laurent and the former owner of the brand, was involved partially in 2 of them. And then you had Chanel. But again, most of these movies, Chanel had nothing to say, except 2 were more part of Chanel marketing, but they were less famous because people preferred those which were real movies made by independent movie directors. What I want to show you is that books also have this power. First, books are often before movies. And here you have an interesting case. A book on Louis Vuitton, the founder of Louis Vuitton. It's called Louis Vuitton the Audacious, because he was truly audacious. And it's not a biography, because actually we have very little information on his real life. It's a long time ago. So it's a novel. It's a novel, and Louis Vuitton was not really involved, but they facilitated it. So the writer has met a lot of people and has created a novel. So it's fiction, it's a fiction that talks in a very realistic way about what was the life probably of Louis Vuitton during Napoleon III empire. And I read it. Actually, I listened to it because there is an audiobook as well. It's fascinating. It's exciting. And you learn about the brand without even realizing you learn about the brand. Okay, that's the power of this kind of entertainment. When I was in the plane recently, I happened to see on the menu of movies Widow Clicquot, you know, the famous champagne brand. So I watched it. Not a documentary, a real movie, a kind of drama made by an American director based on a book as well. There was a book, but again, the brand was not involved in the book. Just an American historian, wine writer, found this history of the founder of Veuve Clicquot interesting. So the brand was kind of lucky, but they were not in control at all. So the last one I want to show you quickly is the New Look. This big Apple TV series has had some success, but also mixed reviews. And it supposedly talked about Dior and the New Look, but in fact, it was really more a movie that tried to create a drama around how French designers survived the World War II and the Paris occupation by the Nazi. So the brands, again, were not in control. And I think that made them think. So recently, actually, Dior commissioned 2 documentary movies. But a documentary has not the same appeal as a real commercial movie. So I think only people who are interested will watch it. Okay, but here the brand was involved because it was from an autobiography of Dior, and they kind of commissioned this this movie director, Frédéric Cheng, to shoot this movie. And recently, Dior also commissioned another documentary called Inside the Dream, which is about Dior fragrance and featuring the current nose perfumer of Dior. But again, you know, it's a documentary, so it has not the same kind of appeal and reach as a real movie. So the question is, of course, today, big luxury groups, and I think in particular of Kering and LVMH, it's really tempting for them, for all the reasons we have discussed, to see whether they could not play a more active part, whether they could not become media themselves, okay, and amplify the voice of their brands by influencing some books or movies about them. And I think LVMH believes it's possible. So very recently, they collaborated with two individuals who made their career in America, near Hollywood, with a very interesting background. And they created with them a company called 22 Montagnes Entertainment. And why they did it? So you have three characters involved here. One is Bernard Arnault, one is his son Antoine, and because it's close to Hollywood, so the chairman, Indian chairman of Louis Vuitton America. And what they are saying basically is what I told you already. They see an opportunity in bridging luxury and the movie industry, in trying to bring this cultural entertainment element into their brands, and trying to see how they could influence the development of amazing movies, TV series, whatever, be a kind of facilitator. So it's very, of course, delicate because, you know, there is always creative people, and here the creatives are the movie directors. They don't want to be influenced. They want to keep the control of the script. So how to balance control and autonomy, how to find, to fine tune between, suggesting partners to create a movie and at the same time giving them enough freedom while controlling a little bit. It's very subtle. But at the same time, I think there is a huge opportunity. And I experienced it myself because when you read a great novel or you watch a great drama that talks about a character which is linked with a luxury brand, in fact, you learn about the brand in a very pleasant way, almost unconsciously. So this is just food for thought. This could go much further. It remains to be seen. But within just LVMH brand, there are so many great stories because it's never going to be about the brand. It's going to be about the people who played an important part in the development of the brand, the family, the Fendi sisters, the Hennessy, Richard Hennessy, the Bulgari family, for instance. Okay, so let's keep an eye on that. Gaming, I really don't have time to talk too much about that. But again, you know, luxury brands try to always remain consistent. So there is a game that Louis Vuitton developed internally called Louis the Game. And no mistake, no chance, it talked about the founder of Louis Vuitton. So they were able to use, again, NFTs and a video game to talk in a different way about their founder and therefore about their brand. And when you know that a lot of young people only, you know, learn through video games, that could also be another point of entry for the alpha generation. Okay, so but voilà. I just want to stop here because it's time, and I want to have a little time to discuss with you. So I have a very, very small toolbox. I think, you know, collaborations for luxury brands must balance image and business. It's really about finding the right balance. If the collaboration is good for the image but is losing money, no good. If it makes a lot of money but deteriorates the image, no good. So luxury brands should first try to assess the objective and make sure these objectives are balanced. And then, you know, it's really about the choice of the brand or the individual you will collaborate with. And here it's really about alignment. It's about DNA and codes, compatibility, to have storytelling. The idea is very simple. If you collaborate brand A and brand B, it should be relevant primarily for the clients of brand A and brand B. If it isn't, because there is no common territory, it's very unlikely it will attract anyone else, okay? So that's the way to look at it. To not make it too complicated and academic, I will just show you, because we talked today about Anne-Sophie Pic, the famous French chef, and I tried to understand whether that made sense. So I looked at the DNA of Dior, some of the elements that clearly constitute Dior DNA, and the DNA of Anne-Sophie Pic, because she's a brand. She has a big company, she's quite famous, she has like her DNA, and they are really an interesting common territory. She's from a dynasty of chefs, so she brings heritage, know-how, transmission. She's iconic because she has she's the most Michelin-starred woman chef in the world. And interestingly, she is born, and her restaurants, some of her restaurants are in her hometown in Valence. And Valence is the gate to Provence. And Dior is also inspired by Provence. So I think for sure here I found some interesting element, not mentioning the fact that she's a woman, and Dior is really about femininity. Voilà. So, and maybe to finish, when I talk about this in my courses, I mean, I always come up with some recommendation, but the last one is really based on my experience, the most important. Even if the idea is great, is smart, at the end of the day, it's about the execution. So when I look at many collaborations, those which often have been the most successful are those which were perfectly executed. And for that, of course, the power of the brand and Louis Vuitton collaborations have often been successful because they were perfectly executed. You know, luxury is about details, luxury is about beauty, and this must reflect in the collaboration execution. Voilà. So I will stop here. I will stop sharing my screen. I see that we have still 145 of you in the room, so thank you for your interest in my presentation today. Let me see in the chat if I have some questions. Alors, not yet. Maybe you were listening to me too much, so you didn't have time to raise question in the chat box. I think you can.
Hello, Denis. Yeah, they're in the Q&A box.
Q&A,
so
wait.
there's the chat that is not for everyone, and then there's a Q&A.
Where is the Q&A, Audrey? Oh, yes, Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Sorry. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Alors, Irène, KPIs or metrics? Alors, well, it obviously totally depends, you know, the collaboration type. But like I said, for me, there must be a business objective. And so you should be able to measure the success of the business objective. For the image, it's much more difficult, as you can imagine. But for the business objective, if you open a restaurant in collaboration with a chef, it's really definitely easy to find out some KPIs about you know, the number of reservation, etc., the satisfaction of the client. You can follow them, the guest reviews, etc. So I think it's possible to find KPIs, but mostly on the business objectives. Price tag for their product and services. Wow, that's a global question, which has little to do maybe with the presentation. But of course, it's a good one. You know, don't forget, luxury is about desirability. So I'm not saying that prices should not have a certain rationality, but up to a certain extent. What I often say is that in the luxury industry, price is not an issue, as long as you are able to make your brand and your product, it's a duo, brand and product, desirable. So, the added value that luxury brands create to justify the prices are the desirability. I could talk to you about luxury hotel. It's very clear. Luxury hotels are able to charge rack price for their rooms much above the market price for a five-star hotel. Why they can do that is because they are more desirable. and why certain people choose to go to these hotels when they could find all the comfort in traditional five-star hotel is because this desirability is meaningful to them. Next question. Alors, that's about hotels from Olivier. What's on average the number of room in hospitality venues bought by luxury brands? Alors, clearly, it's boutique hotels. If you think about all the luxury brand extensions, Bulgari hotels have on average 80 to 100 rooms. Cheval Blanc, it's smaller. For the resort, it's more 40 to 50. And I think it's 60 plus in Paris for the Cheval Blanc. So definitely boutique, which is probably good in a way because they are still not perceived as the traditional players in the category. So if they had like Four Seasons, 280 rooms for which they should get decent occupancy every day, that would challenge them. And I think the Bulgari hotel in London was often sold out, which is good because it's not too big. Yeah. Let me go through the next question. How luxury like Louis Vuitton justify the rumor that China is a leather good manufacturer? Yes, I of course, I know this has been discussed on social media quite a lot. Well, first of all, the people who know Louis Vuitton, they know the answer. It's very clear. This being said, I think, when you have rumors, you have two solutions. Or you ignore the rumors, or you try to answer and to explain without arrogance that it's not the case. So I don't know exactly what Louis Vuitton is doing officially. I've seen a lot of people who are defending Louis Vuitton on social media, but sometimes, luxury brands should, if they see it as a very serious threat, normally they call it crisis situation and they react. But here, I think it was not perceived as too serious because it was really not something reasonable. What advice would you give to emerging brands looking to collaborate with established luxury players? That's a very good point because I have some small clients, who often ask me this question. Well, first of all, you cannot just contact a brand and say, hey, I would like to collaborate with you. It doesn't work like this. So you must find an indirect route. And it's again through individuals. So the thing that these brands should not do is try to contact the brand directly. Try to find maybe some common territory and try to establish indirect connections through people. Louis Vuitton has been collaborating with certain small designers because they were friends of Kim Jones or friends of Pharrell Williams. So, voilà, I think it's often done through people. Hong Liu, what will those luxury brands want to collaboration in lifestyle? What is the meaning behind the strategy? Well, like I said at the beginning, but I said it very quickly, I think many brands see it as a demand from their clients. A lot of luxury, I can tell you, even Hermes. I remember 20 years ago, the CEO of Hermes in Japan was telling me, we are really trying to understand how we can remain desirable. to our elite clients in Japan because they know us so well. They have all our products already. So even a brand like Hermes, you know, they constantly ask themselves the question. So after, how to respond to that question. But I think many brands see that today, you know, luxury clients, some of them, not all, they would like to experience more. They are less interested in buying product, more interested in experiencing luxury lifestyle. So I think that's one of the reasons, like I said. And also it's a way, if they do this lifestyle collaboration in luxury destinations, to meet these clients where they enjoy life. You know, some people find it very boring to go to a store, especially very rich people. So if you find a way to be part of their luxury vacation in Gstaad or St. Moritz while they enjoy, you know, a great week skiing in an ultra luxury hotel, if the luxury brand can be part of this lifestyle, maybe it can be more interesting than trying to bring them to the store. How luxury company, Nicolo, measure the success? Alors, I had this question already, so maybe I will not answer it again here. Oh, Jan Kramer. Jan, thanks for, I'm very honored by your presence today. Even though it has taken over by the Arnault family and by LVMH, what do you make the Paris football? Yes. It's so funny you ask this question because I just wanted to mention it. So for those who are not aware, Paris Football Club is the second soccer team in Paris behind the Paris Saint-Germain. For the moment, it's very small, but you know, Paris could have two football teams, no problem. And I think it shows that when the Arnault family invests through LVMH in Formula One, they really mean it. They really believe in sports. So they also do it at a personal level. That's my answer to your question. Bon, voilà. So here it's personal. You know, I think recently Xavier Niel, who is the son-in-law of Bernard Arnault, married Delphine Arnault, he also invested in a even smaller football club. So that's a trend. Karl Lagerfeld and H&M, Hakim. Wow, that's a long time ago. You know, that's so funny you asked the question because this is about distribution partnerships. Karl Lagerfeld, late Karl Lagerfeld, was a pioneer in many things. And he pioneered the collaboration of designers with fast fashion mass retailers. And you know, H&M has now a long record of collaboration with fashion designers, but it had to start. And the one who dared do it with his personal brand was Karl Lagerfeld. So I think it was amazing. Karl Lagerfeld was also a pioneer of luxury culture, opening luxury to new culture. So he did this with H&M. He also did amazing, you know, fashion show in the Grand Palais with Chanel, Chanel Airways, Chanel Forest, Chanel Supermarket. So he was also a big pioneer of mixing a luxury brand like Chanel with popular culture. Narumi, I understand this is a kind of synergy to be considered when the brand get into collaboration. Synergy, I would say common territory. How do they attract the collaborator? Alors, again, you know, it's not easy, but for LVMH in particular, I can answer you, so it's easier for them, obviously. Everything they did was through the people. So it started with maybe some of the CEOs of the brand or the Arnault family getting closely connected with very famous artists, designers like Frank Gehry, like Jeff Koons, and then also with Kim Jones, Pharrell Williams. And then through them, they connect with other brands, other designers. With the chef, it had to start somewhere, but you know, they also collaborate with architects, so architect, no chef. And at the moment today, that's why I mentioned the Culinary Academy. LVMH is trying to create a culinary academy of chefs. So they are trying to create a kind of community of chefs. And it's the first chef who partnered with them, Arnaud Donqueleux and Maxime Frédéric, who are at the origin of this academy. So it's like, you ask your own collaborators to extend the collaboration. It's very smartly done. For the smaller brands, it's of course more difficult. Udit asked me how feasible is luxury lifestyle when it comes to travel industry. Well, I don't know what you have exactly in mind, but I'm very familiar with ultra luxury hotel brands like Four Seasons, like Aman, who are today crossing over the luxury travel industry by developing their own transportation, like private yacht, private jet, and then developing their own luxury tourism itinerary. I could show you what Four Seasons is developing. It's actually amazing. And they are developing these, they are competing with luxury travel agents, huh? But they are doing it for their most important client. Some high net worth individuals who would like to live and connect with Four Seasons even outside of the hotel. So they do it for them primarily. Another question is how brands are transforming to digital tech, how we to entry the digital. Okay. Digital collaborations, well, it has started, I don't know, there could be different things here. I wouldn't say luxury brands have always been the pioneers in this. But however, I think I remember having looked at the NFTs and the metaverse and the blockchain. So these are three areas I know a little bit. So, I mean, luxury brands believe a lot in the importance of digital technology, believe me. Absolutely no question. They don't talk too much about it, but they are investing a lot. Again, whether it's blockchain, whether it's data, and this is something that they are spending quite a lot of resources and energy on. Alors, they also outsource a lot, so you would be surprised to see the number of very innovative digital tech agencies that are already working with luxury brands. Another question from Hao Shu. Your fresh MIM graduate. Hello. The suggestion international first job in the luxury industry. Well, for this, I suggest you contact me on my email or LinkedIn, and then we chat, because I will be happy to answer you, but maybe it's better I do it directly. Okay, how true? Then Isha Kana. How many collaborations? Too many collaborations. Yes, thank you for asking this. It's really a good point. I think it's like everything. Too many collaborations could kill the concept of collaborations. However, again, in this industry, something I didn't say, but I really believe is that you have no one-fit-all formula. You cannot say luxury brand should do this or should do that. It never works like this. What's good for Hermes is not good for Louis Vuitton, and vice versa, because the brands are unique. They are different. So here, there is not one answer to your question. I think the CEO of Louis Vuitton mentioned that it's almost in the DNA of Louis Vuitton to do collaborations. Okay, so for them, as long as they are well executed, I think they are consistent with their DNA on doing many, many collaborations. Hermes, almost at the opposite. Hermes is very, very keen to not do collaborations, but at the same time, they occasionally do some. And the one with Apple Watch was a masterpiece, you know. And they do sometimes collaboration with ultra luxury brands like Rolls-Royce or Bugatti to remain extremely exclusive. So to your question, I think each brand has to be looked at and has to find its own logic in terms of collaboration strategy. I see Angela, my former student, is here. Hi, and homeware specialist brand. Christophe, Baccarat, Dome, I know why you're asking this, Angela. I mean, of course, it has been done already probably, but, you know, branded residences, hotels, restaurants, but I'm sure they have been thinking of it. You know, why not pop up? Where people could have, you know, could use this beautiful kind of tableware during a short period of time in a pop-up cafe or a pop-up restaurant in a luxury destination, even on a private beach. So I think, you know, connecting with luxury lifestyle definitely would be my recommendation for them. Abhishek. Tiffany and Nike collaboration happen in which shoes are selling at Nike. How can Tiffany monetize it? Oops, you know, Abhishek, sorry. I don't know. When I don't know, I am honest to say it. It's the collaboration I have not looked at, so I cannot answer you directly on this one. Sorry. Min Zen Hu. Thank you. Undercurrent trade, war dynamics, supply chain. Supply chain, well, yeah, when you have some new duties and brands are sourcing some ingredients or materials, definitely it has an impact, not on the supply chain, but on the prices. The supply chain, I don't think so. I don't think, I mean, I hope we will not be in the situation where it will really affect the supply chain. At least at the moment, the danger seems to have a little bit vanished. Ivar, how easy or difficult to introduce a new luxury brand with rich heritage, and what would be your tips? Yes, I like your question because I often have this question in India or in China. You know, a new brand can be born from rejuvenating an old brand or using element of the past to create a kind of heritage. This could be done, but it's never enough. And it's something I often explain when people tell me it's all about heritage. I say, no, it's not all about heritage, because when Chanel, Dior were created, they had no heritage. What enabled them to make a success is that they came up with something that was culturally innovative. So today, of course, things are different. We're working in a world of brands, so you can create a story that brings element of the past. But if you don't have a product, if you don't have, you know, a brand that brings cultural innovation, it's not going to be enough. People don't want brands to be museums. Okay, so this is the danger with that. Okay, so you have to mix, to combine it with some cultural innovation. That's another of my topic in my courses. Gloria, I would like to know your view on the collaboration between Chanel and Charlotte Casiraghi with her. Yeah, I read about that, but I didn't have time to really look at it in detail. So sorry, I will drop the question for now. You can contact me by LinkedIn and maybe I will look at it later. Elisabetta, if one is to pursue a career in luxury hospitality, what advice would you give to such a candidate? Alors, I have a lot of cases like this. So it means if you don't come from a hotel school, you would like to move directly into luxury hospitality. It's not easy, to be honest. For one reason I can explain to you very, very simply is that the big hotel brands, in fact, they manage their hotel under management contract, but they don't own the hotel, so they don't have the same ability to recruit people. In the headquarters, yes, because that's the brand's people. This being said, I think what defines luxury hospitality is luxury service. So there will always be a need for people who are passionate about luxury service. So if you like people, if you are not scared to work in operations, I think if you have the right mindset, you can still consider a career in the operations. But you need to you need to face clients. You need to climb up the ladder. Headquarters, there are less positions, to be honest. What are your advices for smaller luxury brands? Well, I had some of my, what this means small, it depends. First of all, at the very beginning, small luxury brands, I'm trying to think about some cases. They can think about collaboration in a smart way. I brought to my students this year one of my former students, Léa Petitjean, who created a very small brand. It's about silk, basically. It's very small. And she explained to us, to my student, that because she's very small, when she introduces herself or her brand, for instance, she's born in Jura, the same place where Louis Vuitton is born. So she's using that analogy. She's from the same region of Louis Vuitton, because when she talks about Jura and Louis Vuitton, people know. So in fact, it's half a joke. Huh? You can sometimes, associate your small brand with other elements. It doesn't need to be, like I explained at the beginning, a contractual collaboration. Okay, so what my student also did, she developed some collection of scarves around places she loved, for instance, Provence or the French Riviera. And again, when she talks about Provence or the French Riviera, people know. So it's like she associates her brand with places which are desirable. That would be my answer for you today. Abhishek comes back. Luxury brand bringing Indian faces as global ambassadors, definitely. Reincarnation of the brand. Priyanka, I don't know all of them, but you know them very well. So brand faces, it's another category of collaborations, which are more on the promotional side, brand ambassadors, brand faces. For me, many brands still use this kind of faces as ambassadors. Not all of them. Not all of them. It's not an absolute necessity. It's for me a little bit old-fashioned, but I think it's probably hard to do without it for many brands. What I would recommend brands to do is to try and revisit a little bit the concept of faces, to try to make it more relevant, more exciting. So to make it not just a commercial contract. And I have a good case. I showed to my student in my course, Messica, the new luxury jewelry brand from France. She employed some faces, but she also collaborated with them. So she totally revisited the collaboration. It could be interesting for the brand to ask this Indian face to maybe be involved in some product development for India market. Why not? Okay, that's my suggestion. I'm checking the time. You are still there. Huh? Alors, how many companies choose to exhibit Japan or Asia place? Exhibit Japan. Alors, you know, luxury, when I started to work in this industry 46 years ago, was mostly about Europeans and Americans. And in Asia, it all started with Japan. And for many luxury brands, Japanese, because they had a deep appreciation for culture, for craftsmanship, they quickly fell in love with luxury brands from Europe. And it opened the eyes of many luxury brands. It's the case of Louis Vuitton, even Hermes. So after Japan, you know, came other countries in Asia. And luxury brands had learned with Japan how to deal with such a different country, a different culture. So to a certain extent, what they had learned with Japan, they used when they developed in China 20 years later. Yeah. Norris. Fendi and Haiti is a disaster. Yeah, I know. But you know, first of all, the fact that people talk about it is not necessarily bad. Sometimes, you know, raising controversy, voilà. Second, in my personal opinion, there were more benefits than negatives, more positives than negatives. But of course, when you do something like this, you take risk. You go out of your comfort zone. And Fendi in China has always tried to be a little bit original. I still remember they were the first to bring their collection to the Great Wall with Karl Lagerfeld a long time ago. So no, I mean, Haiti, I think it had globally a positive impact on the brand, but it's a risk and not everyone can agree on that. It depends also what you see as your priority. Huh? And I think in China, rightly or wrongly, many luxury brands have tried to court Gen Z in the past years. Maybe it was not totally right, but so at least it was consistent. Chinese culture can create luxury brand. I have this question all the time when I teach in China. Definitely yes. First of all, there is no reason. So, and there are a lot of things going on in China at the moment that I cannot develop, but Chinese brands are strengthening, maybe more premium than luxury, but it's coming. One issue I always explain in China is the time. You know, building a real luxury brand, not a premium brand, takes time. And unfortunately, the Chinese economy at the moment, it's very hard, even for investors, to have a long-term vision because there is this pressure on delivering relatively short-term results. Like 5 years is really long-term in China. So that could be a small issue, you know, because you need to find investors, you need to have investors patient. And in China, it's hard because you have that pressure on bringing results fast. Grégoire, it's amazing to see how different industries are collaborating together and growing. Could we see a time where it's too much noise and over collaboration? I think we, the Marpiguet, okay. I think we see it a little bit already. I think the quiet luxury trend has also raised some alarm signals. But I think, again, I think it all depends each brand. Each brand has to find a strategy also on collaboration, on lifestyle branding that is right for the brand. And I think it's a lesson that I learned personally from Hermes, which I know very well for many years. They always did the things they felt were good for them. And they never really paid attention to trends. They always tried to be themselves. So I think you know, Louis Vuitton, they are themselves in what they are doing. So I think globally, I support them. I know Audemars Piguet very well. So I think you did a great job at the waffles, you know, using that billiard room and making it culturally relevant again. And I think, voilà. So, but again, it's not that I don't want to answer, but it goes back to each brand is different. Each brand has to find its unique way of doing things. Its luxury brand has to be itself. Amy, May 20. It's a bit special, I know. I love you, I know. Thank you. Branding, craftsmanship brand, handmade jewelry, etc. Do you have anything that's personal? Yeah, I know there's a lot of small jewelry brand in China that are trying to make their way, and I think I have no doubt that some of them will be successful. One challenge for jewelry is distribution. So I think what these brands should do is to learn from some successful cases, because often the biggest challenge for them, I mean, unless you choose online, but there could be some limitations. If you want to really grow this brand, you need to find a way to break through physical distribution. And in fact, most of the time, they don't have the budget to open stores. So it is through also collaborations. When you collaborate with retailers, it's a form of collaboration. And there's a lot of, you know, beautiful jewelers that sell watches and jewelry that can help, but you must also get to know them, gain their appreciation. So it's also a lot of partnership and collaboration in distribution. Miriam, thank you for your insightful presentation. Chef, video game, cultural relevance and brand dilution. Well, of course, you are totally right to ask this question. And again, I think it's not that I want to evade the issue, but cultural relevance means something different for Cartier and for Louis Vuitton, just to take that example. There are some common elements, but the way to align, you know, culture and what makes the brand unique, it creates some specificities. So first of all, it's about doing the right thing for the brand, and I think it's really also about, for me, my experience is, of course, you should know why you're doing it. You know, that's the first thing I teach in my courses on collaboration. Why do you want to do a collaboration? You don't want to do it for the sake of doing a collaboration. You must have clear objectives and take the time to write it down. Business, image, objective, okay? And then find the right partner and the right execution. I think if the execution is perfect, there is no big risk. You know, what often creates dilution is when the execution is so-so, because it has been done too fast, or without the right people, or without the right budget. Voila. So that's what I would say in the limited time. How can brands manage their individuality when they get acquired by other brands? Versace, Prada. Very good question. You know, it's it's a big question. And here again, I think you you must understand the group culture. So LVMH, Richemont, Kering, L'Oréal, Estée Lauder, and in the hotel industry, Hyatt, Marriott, Accor, they have different corporate culture. So they have different ways, you know, to manage new brands. For instance, you know, I admire Renzo Rosso, the founder of Diesel, who created Only the Brave. He also made some acquisitions, but it's more like a community of brands. So they are able to really maintain their independence, and the founders have a big say in everything. But you know, when sometimes the founders don't want to continue, which was the case partially at Loro Piana or at, I'm thinking of other brand, Bulgari, or even, you know, I know a small, beautiful brand, Pucci, Ludmila Pucci. I met her in Florence. You know, when her father passed away, she needed a safe place to continue to, for this brand to continue to grow. So again, each brand is in a different situation. But on the specific question of Versace and Prada, we will see. You know, I'm not here to give judgments. I think there are too many of my, not too, I should not say that, but too many people give lessons. I think we need in this industry to remain humble. I have an opinion on that, but I will not express it because I don't know, you know, it will really depend. The best or the worst could come out of it. We need to be sometimes humble. Emma, could you speak on the saturation effect of social media? Yes. That no experience is sacred or unique. Experience is shared, commodified. Stop nightclubs, encouraging the moment, comfort salon show. Do you think we will see more of this in super luxury space? Banning phones poolside? Yes, I think that's very interesting. I even know a luxury spa brand in China that developed silent treatments, meaning that the estheticians is not allowed to talk to the client. Well, it's a joke, but no, it's not a joke, actually. It's because voilà, it can also be something that influences. I think it's definitely interesting. The concept of privacy is very interesting, in particular for ultra luxury clients, you know. So but you know, social media at the same time for new brands, it's really the place where they have a chance to start, you know, meeting what I call the brand's interest groups. There's no better place, you know, for a lot of young brands. So I think social media is still something absolutely essential, but very big brands obviously can do differently with social media today. And you remember, I think it's Bottega Veneta, which stopped everything. Thanks for your kind words, Emma, by the way. And Samantha, thank you, Professor. Does it mean that luxury brands will become more and more lifestyle? Yes and no. I mean, many luxury fashion brands think that they should enlarge their territory to make their fashion product more relevant by going lifestyle. Those which are more luxury than fashion have not necessarily exactly the same vision, or they don't want to do it in the same way. So again, there is not one fit all way, and then some you know, hard luxury brands thinking about watches, jewelry. It's very interesting. You know, they are, Audemars Piguet, because we talked about it, is going lifestyle for different reasons. But Cartier is very different from Bulgari in that respect. So, voilà. But I would say fashion lifestyle is more obvious than jewelry lifestyle. However, if it can be done in a way that makes sense for the brand, why not? You know, Bulgari is the best example. It was very risky what Bulgari did. Think of it retrospectively. Bon, I think it's, let me check the time. We have been here for 2 hours. No, I need to stop because I have another actually live stream session. So sorry for the very last ones. We need really to put an end. I am very, very grateful for your interest and your enthusiasm in keeping asking me questions. I hope I was able to answer to your satisfaction. And I will give the microphone to Audrey to just say the final word.
Yeah, thank you, Denis. It was a wonderful and amazing session. Yeah, almost 2 hours. So well done, and thank you all for your questions. We have all of your questions, so I can also send them to Denis. Feel free to send him a contact request on LinkedIn as well. I know he's always very available. And also, if you want to know more about our programs and ESSEC, feel free to connect with me and have a look at the website. Thank you all, and talk to you very soon. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Audrey. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.